Hi all, it's Debbie, Dealer4519 on YouTube. Because it's 9/11, I thought I'd do a video on where I was when I found out and what happened to me because of that. I was working crazy shifts as a blackjack dealer on a boat in Indiana. And by crazy shifts, I mean, 5 to 1, 5 p.m. to 1, 6 p.m. to 2 or 3 a.m. And I don't remember what I worked on 9/10, but I can tell you that I hadn't gotten to bed before 3 o'clock, and I can't tell you how many days in a row. So I was pretty tired, and I had to get up and get my kids off to school the next day. So I was resting peacefully. And then my oldest son woke me and said he got the little one off to school because there was a 10-year difference between these two. So he was going to go to his school. He was in high school. And I said, "That's great. Thanks a lot. And have a good day." And out the door he went. So it wasn't just, that was probably about 7 o'clock, give or take a few minutes. It wasn't but a few minutes, I'm Central Time too, by the way. So it wasn't but a few minutes later, it seemed, that my phone started ringing, and I heard it ring, but I couldn't roll over, and I heard it ring, and I thought they'll hang up, and I heard it ring, and nobody hung up, and I looked at I grabbed the phone, the caller ID was on the back of the phone, and I said, "This better be important." It was a friend of mine who lived in Chicago, and he had been an Army Ranger years ago. And he said, "It's important. The United States is under attack." I said, "What?" He said, "The United States is under attack. What are you doing?" I said, "I worked until almost 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm sleeping." He said, "Well, get up and turn on the television." Needless to say, before he said that, I had already gotten out of bed and was searching for the remote, and it was in the couch cushions. But I turned on the TV in time to hear that we now think it was a terrorist attack. And as they were talking, they had the towers in the background, and I said, "I gotta go." So I called my mom, who was also in the Army when she was younger, and I said, "Mom, do you have the TV on?" And she never did, because she really didn't watch anything. And she said, "No, why would I have the TV on?" I said, "Well, turn it on now." I said, we're probably under attack." And she said, "Do what?" "Exactly, Mother. Turn on the television. There is no way I can describe to you what you're about to see." And she said, "Oh my word, Debbie, just look at that tower burning. Those people can't be alive." And I said, "Mama, I know." I said, "Now what are we going to do?" She goes, "What are we going to do?" I said, I don't even know what to do." And she said, "My country has never been under attack in my lifetime since December the 7th of 1941. And she was a baby then. I said, "All right." So we were talking about this terrible thing and the information that we had each gathered from whatever station we were watching. And my mom said, "What station are you watching?" And I told her, I don't know what it was, probably ABC or NBC, but she turned that channel on. In just a minute, she said, "Debbie, did you see that second plane hit the tower?" And I said, "No, Mama, I did not." And she said, "That wasn't the same video footage. That was a different plane." And so I rewound the television, and yes, it was a different plane into a second tower. And I started to cry. And my mom said, "You're a grown woman. Why are you crying?" And I said, I don't know who in the world could hate us so much that they would use our airplanes and fly them into towers, into buildings." And then we started getting reports about one that was allegedly headed for the White House. That never, ever came to be. Then we got a report about one that was headed to somewhere, and that never came to be. And it was a while later before we heard about what happened at the Pentagon, because at first they said it was an explosion at the Pentagon. They had a reporter inside, and he said that's what it felt like. And then he said, I'm going to go check it out, and they disconnected that phone line. And I told my mom, I said, do you think that could have been a plane too? She said, Debbie, I don't know what to tell you. She said, but if you've got to work today, you better go back to bed. Yes, Mom, I know. I didn't go back to bed. I stayed glued to my television all day long just to figure out who would do this to us. And, maybe 5 years before that or 4 years before that, I had heard President Clinton say on television that he had a location on this guy named Osama bin Laden, but we didn't go after him, so I figured it wasn't important, and I blew that off. But that name started coming quickly, and we got more information, and pretty much they just said, we're going to hold off everything until we find out what happened. So over a period of time, we found out that it was a plane that went into the Pentagon, and it killed people there. And that there was a plane taken down in a field, and the hijackers and the people on the plane who took the plane down, they were killed. And a lot of people in the Twin Towers were killed, and even people on the flights. I was, devastated. At 1 o'clock that day, my telephone rang. And I thought, who could it be? But it had rung all day, so I picked it up and didn't look at the who's calling. And I said, hello. And it was a recording telling me not to go to work that day. They were not opening the boats. They were not opening stadiums. They were not opening anything. So a lot of things were canceled because they didn't know where the next terrorist attack would happen. I'm really happy to say that there wasn't another terrorist attack after the ones with the planes. But boy, I tell you what, America sure changed that day. I changed that day. My kids, the oldest one, he was in high school, and he changed that day. Because we'd only heard rumors of terrorist attacks or other countries attacking the United States. And most of those were a long, long time ago. The French War, the British War. So it was hard. It was hard to watch. And it was hard to imagine. And I had nightmares for months that a plane would fly in my bedroom window, and I'd wake up and I'd be scared, and I'd go check on the kids, and it was all a nightmare. But because I was a working mom, there's nothing I could do. Although I will say that I quickly got off that shift and bid on a shift where I was home with the kids at night. Not that I could do anything, not that I could stop a plane from flying into our house. That wasn't ever going to happen, but it's an irrational fear because it's a fear of the unknown. A lot of times in your life, if someone dies or you see something horrific happen, especially if it's live, you'll get a fear that is irrational. You'll be scared of the dark, or you'll be scared of, I don't know, giant lizards from other countries or giant gorillas climbing buildings. And of course, those are irrational fears, but they're fears because you don't know what's going to go wrong next. And I took it kind of personally, since Anthony's father was in the service at that point. And Anthony's my oldest son. Let's clear that up. And I took it personally because his father had served and my mother had served. So it was a very, very bad thing. And I still have very, very important memories that I can't talk about of the things I saw that are buried way back in my mind, and I don't like to think about those. But today I was talking to my husband about it because we weren't together when the attack happened. And I told him, I said, I can't believe it's been 15 years. But on the other hand, I can tell it's been 15 years. I said, I still have memories of, and I couldn't even tell him what of. I said, never mind. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I hope all of you remembered 9/11 and the people who died to keep us safe and the people who were used as weapons against us and their families. I'll talk to you again soon. And bye-bye.